old burying ground is a place I've had on a map for a long time, but haven't been able to explore yet, just, due to the game not letting us in. The area really commits to its theme. The music is slow and somber and a little bit off kilter, and the enemies are they fit the theme. They're ghostly and spooky. The ghosts especially are pretty effective at capturing that scary atmosphere it wants to have. Because you can't see them, they're a bit of an unknown threat, and the noises they make as well as the visual kind of you come up with your own idea on exactly what they are. I enjoy the challenge that they give. You have to find your own way to track them down. I tried out throwing fire bombs and such at first, but it didn't work. And then I realized once they went through some tall grass that they could that they interacted with the environment enough. So my strategy to take them out was pulling them into water and seeing where they are through that. Even once you revealed them, though, the enemies are pretty difficult. Especially in groups, I was having a hard time being able to fight them. So my main method for that area is once I figured out where they were, I just kind of skirted around the outside and avoided them because, at this point I've lost all my strength and such. So I'm not quite as tinky as I used to be. As you approach the chapel, the music builds a lot, and that momentum carries on into the chapel proper. The music for this area is really tense. It makes it seem like you're building to something big, which you are. The enemies found inside are especially chilling. I am unsure exactly what they are. I mean, of course they are us, but not us too. They're like a evil zombie version of our character. My theories are they are either a failed version of myself from the past who's given up, kind of like in Dark Souls with the Hollows, or they are a physical manifestation of all the deaths I've had. Which, if that is the case, I wonder if there's as many of them as there are many times I've died, which that'd be really cool. But I don't know. The cathedral itself is a challenging area, and I enjoyed going through it. I liked to use the surroundings to defeat my enemies, like the spikes and such, kind of similar to the tomb area. The challenge at the end of the cathedral is unique, and I was expecting a boss fight, and it's not quite that. It's kind of like a multi-mobs fight. I like how you have a choice with what order you do the fight, and when you get your healing. I experimented a lot with the various fights in the order I did them, and as well as the items and the card combinations I would use for each different battle. Each fight kind of had their own challenge to it. The fairies was probably the quickest to get through, but also they did a lot of damage, so it was frantic. The skeletons, they ganged up on you quickly. You weren't able to kill them as fast as they were coming out, so you kind of had to do mob control a bit. I used dynamite there. The mages kept you constantly moving around, and you couldn't be in one place for too long. And it was fun dipping in and out to do small bits of damage and slowly picking them off one by one. The two guardian bosses kind of had you relearn how to fight this boss. They also had you dealing with two tough enemies at once, though I kind of cheesed it. I used the shotgun to take out the first one really quickly, and then just had the one-on-one with the last guy. The frogs were chaotic. They were all over the place, and it was kind of... They came in quickly as well, and you had to... They weren't all fighting you at once. It was kind of like you had to kind of weave through them each and kill them one by one. And then the goat guards is kind of an all-around challenge. You could kill them as quickly as they were coming in for a little while, but once the big guy comes in, you kind of have to deal with some crowd control there. The reward for this challenge is very much worth it. The dash move is so fun to use, and I abused the hell out of it. It's the perfect sort of endgame reward. It feels powerful, and you really unlock a lot of ways you can go from this. I also really enjoyed the quests we had following this. Visiting each of these statues around the world to slowly regain your stats is a lot of fun, and you get to explore and find new areas with the new knowledge and abilities you have, which I enjoyed quite a lot. The ghost section of this game is really cool in general. After slowly growing stronger all game, you have everything stripped away from you. And now in this weaker form, I have to rely on my knowledge of the combat and use the abilities that I have to be able to get through each fight. The whole map is reworked as well, so the areas that aren't important anymore are blocked off, and there are significant changes in places such as the quarry, which is now flooded with all that purple stuff. Towards the beginning of my exploration of the map, I found a new item. It was the hourglass, and I thought it was amazing. Being able to slow down time and fight in this slow motion for a bit is really fun, and you can use it in creative ways to get an advantage in fights. I haven't completely figured out the perfect strategic use for it, but I've just had a lot of fun messing around with it, and it might be part of my hotbar for a while. Each statue kind of has its own challenge and obstacles lying in the way for getting to it. I thought each of them were cool. Some were a bit more unique than others, but I thought they were all fun. The West Garden had you exploring this part of the map and getting used to using your dash to get to new places. I thought it was a good spot for it because the floodedness of the area means that you're kind of just going through a bunch of islands, so there's a lot to zip around and skip over in that area. The quarry was startling. The guy that appears there is really tough and is really scary because he jump scares you when you go in. It raises some more questions about these guys. I'm not sure who they are yet. I thought they were experiments, and I think they still are experiments. I don't know. I don't think they're actual people that were existed outside of the experiments. But man, they are creepy. The East Forest is pretty standard, but was a lot of fun to use Hourglass to get through. The Forest Fortress has you fighting those purple spider enemies again. This time I didn't have the turrets to help me, so it was a bit more difficult. But the Hourglass again was useful. The floating temple had the crazy revelation that the librarian was there. I thought that was really neat. I was not really fully able to tell what he was saying because I can't read his language, but it's cool to see that he's a ghost. It kind of confirms that these ghosts are people who have been killed, and also that we could kill the librarian. Rest in peace. And then the two statues coming to life. That was awesome because earlier on, I went through this area and I saw the statues and I was like, oh, those are gonna come to life and kill me. And they didn't. And I did not expect them to eventually come to life here. So that was cool. I also noticed you can challenge the air whenever. I tried doing it like halfway through getting all my abilities, and I didn't want to beat him, but I just wanted to test if I could. I don't believe I'm going to beat the air or try to beat the air until I have completed as much of the other stuff that I can do. Another crazy revelation was the arrow patterns. It's crazy that this has been hiding in plain sight the entire game, and it's really cool that it's something you could figure out a lot earlier if you are observant enough. The first time I saw this was a thing, my jaw dropped. Like, this game is so good at hiding really cool things that are they're there, and you when you get back to it, you're like, oh my god, this is what this is for. But this one is probably the craziest of them all. It's kind of like The Witness, where now that this has been revealed, I am seeing these patterns everywhere, and I have all these puzzles to do all over the place now. And it looks like these puzzles reward you with trophies and fairies, which I am unsure exactly what they do yet, but they're interesting and I'm curious. From some pages I procured, it seems that this leads to an ending, perhaps. Some of the highlights with this puzzle was the windmill, the rotating platform, and especially the one you get when you fiddle with deleting your save. Whoa. I have not figured this one out yet, but it was crazy when I did find this was a thing. There are a ton of new pages to analyze, the first being the Battle of the Air being shown. I thought the person fighting the air was not me, but somebody else in the past who looks like me, but no, I actually think it is supposed to be us, supposed to be the player character. Then there are two showing ways to beat the game, evidently. It seems like defeating the air would be one way, and then there's another way involving the arrow direction puzzles. That's what I'm going to call them, I guess. I have yet to figure out how the arrow patterns would lead to an ending, so there's more to discover there. I found an area with a broom and three piles of autumn leaves. I could not figure out what to do here, so but I just wanted to note that. And then there's a backstory page, which interestingly, it looks like there's these creatures that look kind of like aliens invading. They have the same design kind of as the Guardian boss. I noticed that there was a statue of one in the cathedral, and it looks like that the siege engines are fighting them. I wonder who is the invader and who is the invadee. It seems the ghost particularly more in the siege engine, so I wonder if it was like a defender of some sorts. I don't know. The villainous creature appears very similar to the air, and they have the crown that allows the player to dash, so I'm curious about them. I don't know if they're the air still, or if it's like a different person. It's still I'm still not entirely sure. Another page I found taught me that I could combine the abilities of the magic items, which is awesome. And then also that you are able to use frozen enemies as lock-on points for your grapple, which is also really cool. And that's something that would have been really useful later earlier on in the game, and it'd be cool to have the knowledge of in a playthrough, second playthrough. The last interesting page had a lot of cryptic advice on it. The only thing I've been able to piece together was the hidden path to the trophy room. It seems like there is more that you can find out with this page if you study it longer, but I did not. I'm learning a ton in this game, but it still seems like there's so much that I don't know yet about. And I'm slowly clearing the dust away and revealing the full picture of this game.